glad to be alive out there? Woo. We are created equal. Say it with me. We are created equal. Those words are so powerful and so elusive. This truth, written in our Declaration of Independence over 2 centuries ago and reiterated by a great man by the name of President Abraham Lincoln in the Gettysburg Address, are denied to this day by many state and federal lawmakers, so-called civil rights groups, educators and teachers unions, news media, big tech, and many other institutions, including Bible-challenged churches. Yeah. And sorry, Vice President Kamala Harris, we're created equal by God, not by government. If only she could find a copy of the founding documents somewhere in the nation's capital. The party that went to war to protect the violent inhumanity of slavery is the same party battling to protect the violent inhumanity of abortion. Same wrong, different century. Thank heaven for abolitionists who never gave up. We have to remember that slavery didn't end in an instant. It was victory after victory after victory until that heinous injustice was abolished. Abortion abolitionists will never give up either. Amen? Amen. Whew, for decades, Roe v. Wade allowed the most marginalized to become the most mutilated. It enabled the commercialized killing of millions of defenseless lives wrongly labeled unwanted. That's how I was once labeled. So one of the best days of my life was when the Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade on June 24th, 2022. Roe was aborted. Can I get an amen? Woo! It was a historic step toward equality. You see, many say that I should have been aborted. I was conceived in rape, but I was adopted in love. I'm so grateful to my courageous birth mom for being stronger than her circumstances. We can all be stronger than our circumstances. Although she was a victim of the violence of rape, she didn't make me a victim of the violence of abortion. And I pray that she received the healing that she needed, the wholeness that will never come from the latest Planned Parenthood con or the latest fake feminism euphemism. Instead, her strength allowed me to grow up in a loving and diverse family, a tiny family of 15. 9 of my 12 siblings were adopted by my incredible parents, Andrea and the late Henry Bomberger. They shattered the myth of the unwanted child. We are all wanted by someone. Yet, pro-abortion folks absurdly brand pro-lifers as the people who don't care about people after they're born. I hate that bumper sticker mantra. We are the people who care for people before and after they're born. And yes, I said people. Every person is a human. Every human is a person. Can I get an agreement out here? If only the most pro-abortion presidential administration in history could grasp this simple truth. Now, today I'm married to the love of my life, Bethany Bomberger. Love you, babe. She's in St. Louis at the Pro-Life Women's Conference. She was a single mom for 2 years. She left a toxic relationship only to discover that she was pregnant. She was in her late 20s and a public school teacher, and the pressure for her to abort was intense. The biological father wanted the child aborted, but Bethany refused. She named that precious baby girl, our oldest daughter, Radiance, the reason for the name of our organization. I became her dad just days before she turned 2 and was able to adopt her after 3 years of court battles. And let me just say, life is always worth the fight. Out of my 4 children, Radiance, Makai, Aaliyah, and Justice, 2 were adopted. All 4 are loved like crazy. And none of this would have happened had my life been snuffed out by the social injustice of abortion. I am the 1% that is used 100% of the time to justify abortion. And it's why I'll never stop fighting to defend the most marginalized, because that used to be me. We're all created equal. The pro-life movement loves God's most precious creation. That's humanity. Mainstream media constantly tries to make us look like we are the insignificant minority. Frederick Douglass, the former slave and abolitionist, didn't care too much for fake news back then either. That's why the founder and editor of the North Star, who helped to reshape President Lincoln's conscience on the evils of racism and slavery, said this: "Slavery has no rightful existence anywhere." Well, guess what? I think the same thing about elective abortions. He continued, "The man who is right is a majority. He who has God and conscience on his side has a majority against the universe. And guess what, America? That's the only majority that matters. God bless.